Hello and welcome to National Focus. I am Shakira Pear. In the headlines, 30 Granby families benefit from government's housing revolution as they receive keys to their new apartments. Chief Executive Officer of the Climate Resilient Executing Agency, CREED, praises government for its management of COVID-19 in Dominica, and Caribbean Airlines will make access into Dominica much easier. Details of the headline stories and more when we return.
The hurricane season is less than a month away. Find out today what types of hazards that could happen where you live. Hurricanes can cause many hazards, including flooding due to heavy rainfall, large waves along the coast, strong winds, landslides, and falling rocks. Determine your risk and be prepared for any eventuality. A message from the Government Information Service.
Welcome back. Parliament has been engaged in a 3-day post-election seminar at the House of Assembly conducted by the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. The seminar got underway on Wednesday, September 23, and is geared at improving the knowledge of parliamentarians in Dominica. Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Joseph Isaac, says the seminar is timely.
It's an opportunity to build knowledge and to retool. We must always benchmark against the past at both the national, regional, and international level. And I say benchmark because benchmark in regards to Parliament itself. For example, how does the Prime Minister today, as the leader of Parliament, really function compared to, for example, Dame Eugenia Charles, Edison James, Patrick John, and our past other leaders? How does the opposition leader perform and address issues relative to people like Edison James again, Honorable Dame Eugenia Charles, and our past opposition leaders? How does our country perform at the national level in regards to GDP performance?
The Speaker of the House called on all members of Parliament to have a clear vision for Dominica's development.
We must have a clear vision for our nation and must maintain a selfless agenda. According to Frederick Louis Donaldson, and I quote, "Wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character, commerce without morality, science without humanity, worship without sacrifice, and politics without principle." And I say, and I quote the last part, politics without principle. These are timely quotes that I draw to the attention of this post-election seminar that we need to look at as we go through the coursework on the next 2 to 3 days.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit says over the course of this seminar, both the new and seasoned parliamentarians will be exposed to the best practices and skills needed to undertake their duties.
I encourage each and everyone to take this seriously because we're not here for ourselves. I have always said that to be effective in politics, you must first love people. It is critical, therefore, that as parliamentarians, we remain guided by that basic tenet in all that we do in this House. When this seminar is over, remember that the people we serve will expect an even higher standard of representation in future sittings of Parliament.
Prime Minister Skerrit reminded parliamentarians that Parliament should be taken seriously as it is the highest court of the land.
Remember that above all, Parliament is a place for serious business. This is the highest court of the land, and as such, we must first set and adhere to the highest standards of governance.
30 families from Geneva Granby have now benefited from the government of Dominica's ongoing housing revolution as they receive keys to their new residential units. Curvier John reports.
A handing over ceremony was held on Wednesday, September 23, 2020, where the beneficiaries received their keys from Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development Honorable Reginald Austrie, and Member of Parliament for the Grand Bay constituency Honorable Edward Regist. These recipients joined thousands of other vulnerable Dominicans in communities such as Dalis, Laplin, Georgetown, Cotton Hill, and Cassibruce who have benefited from the government's housing revolution. Chairman of the Grand Bay Village Council, Mr. Amor Thomas, says this residential unit symbolizes a way forward for the community of Grand Bay.
Today will reveal a new beginning for our community, in that from here, with a visionary government, we are seeing the way ahead for our community in the line of further development. Ladies and gentlemen, a visionary government is installed and is in place, working on behalf of the entire population of this country.
The government of Dominica partnered with the Montreal Management Consultants Establishment Limited, MMCE, to further the housing revolution. Managing Director of MMCE Limited, Mr. Christopher Timmins, gave an overview of what the residential units entail.
The basic recipe hasn't changed. So you're still getting a totally reinforced concrete, cast in situ building, including the roof. The windows are impact resistant and certified hurricane proof. The services are underground and Digicel is pre-wired. Should the main electricity grid be lost in the event of a climatic event, one generator can simply be plugged in at the entrance to the development and power will be available within a very short period of time. Solar water heating is provided to give a free supply of hot water. And of course, we have the hotel quality bathroom fittings.
Mr. Timmins described the new project as a milestone in the partnership between MMCE and the government of Dominica.
This project represents another milestone in our continuing partnership with the government that started after Erica and with the passing of Maria sought to reinforce the need to provide climate resilient buildings. We have to date completed over 1,000 new homes, 6 health centres, with 6 more in various states of construction. 2 very large community centres are now nearing completion, and the North Eastern District Hospital is on track to be operational at the end of April 2021. So the completion of this project is not the end, nor is it the beginning of the end, or even the end of the beginning, but merely a stepping stone in the path towards doing our bit in helping your government achieve its aim to make Dominica the world's first climate resilient nation.
Member of Parliament for the Grand Bay constituency, Honorable Edward Regist, says he will continue to advocate for the further development of the community and his constituency.
You can be assured that as parliamentary representative, I will continue to advocate for the development of our community. And all my colleagues sitting here this afternoon will tell you that when it comes to Grand Bay, I fight. I fight every day. I do not give up because I love this community and I've always loved this community, and I will continue to advocate on your behalf. It doesn't matter how small, how big the needs are, I will continue to work in the best interest of the people of Grand Bay.
The Grand Bay MP is excited for the people who will benefit, while assuring other constituents that they will be considered for the upcoming housing developments.
I am extremely excited for the people who will benefit this afternoon. I love each and every one of them. And those who will not get this afternoon, I also want to assure you that when that time comes, you will get to. I will make sure of it, that you get to. As long as I am here, you will get to. Because you know what? We have to rejoice with those who are getting today, so that when your time comes, we will also rejoice with you.
The Member of Parliament encouraged the recipients to live as a family and to take care of the area.
Live in peace with each other. Live as family. Take care of each other's children. And do not quarrel and fight. You're going to be living right next to the secondary school.
Be an example. Be the best that you can be, my dear friend. Police no. Behave yourselves, my dear friend. And I will come to see you off and on. Okay? I will come to see you off and on to make sure that you are okay, that you're living well. And we will have meetings and we will talk to each other, and if you have problems, then we can look to see how we can solve those problems. But I love each and every one of you, and I look forward to us building a model community here.
Meanwhile, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Reginald Austri, says the government will form an inspection unit to assist the residents in caring for the units.
That we expect you to live as family. You living in a different kind of environment. You have people on top of you, you have people on your side. So you have to live in a way that you can enjoy your home, but your neighbor next to you can also enjoy their home. I would like to see you form yourself into a nice community group to look after the needs, to look after the infrastructure, to look after the beautification, the landscaping, the flowers. I urge you to do that as quickly as possible. The government will also set up an inspection team which will pass it from time to time to ensure that everything is okay.
The Housing Minister also thanked MMCE for the effort they have put into the government's housing revolution.
I need to thank, as Minister of Housing, I need to thank MMCE for the effort that they have put into making this housing revolution a bigger reality than we thought. We started this process in 2006, if you can remember, with our little petrol casters and money from the Chinese government. But we had to continue. It was difficult. We had to use several construction methods. We had to use several housing solutions to get to where we are. But MMC has remained a true partner in this endeavor.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit also gave a commitment to the residents of the Granby constituency that an additional 70 homes will be built to assist the vulnerable people in the community.
This is not the end of the housing program here in this constituency. Granby certainly, and I agree, deserve many more than the 30 homes that we handed over today. And I give you the firm commitment, Parip, and the villagers and residents of Granby, that the next phase that Mr. Austri referenced will be some 70 residences to provide additional homes for the people of Granby. And I do not think that any one of us in this country should be envious of this commitment, because anything that Granby gets, Granby deserves.
Beneficiaries expressed their thanks to the government for their assistance.
I can gladly testify that I am a proud beneficiary of one of the many promises made by these men. As a single parent, having to face the hurdles of also being a tenant was overwhelming and challenging. No more will I face eviction, nor walk around with a saddened and heavy heart, yearning to own a home. The exhilaration that I now feel is profound.
Kuvia John for the Government Information Service.
Chief Executive Officer of the Climate Resilient Executing Agency, CREED, Ms. Francine Barron, has praised the government of Dominica for its management of COVID-19. Ms. Barron says the management of this pandemic has shown that government will be able to manage any economic shock, whether it's health or natural disasters.
I would dare say that Dominica has fared very well in its response to the pandemic. We did not shut down society completely. We restricted movement during the first wave of the pandemic, but we maintained the operation of certain sectors of society, which has helped to keep money in circulation and to minimize the impact.
Ms. Barron says a lot has been put in place by government that will assist Dominica in the event of further economic shocks. Many sectors in Dominica have suffered tremendously as a result of COVID-19, but government has been putting measures in place to assist those who are affected.
Dominica has put systems in place that has allowed us to respond very well to COVID. It has had a significant impact on Dominica, particularly our tourism industry. And persons who provide services to that industry have been severely impacted, and will be impacted for some time, because it will be a while before COVID-19 leaves us completely. But notwithstanding the impact of COVID, we have still been able to survive, to provide the resources and support that is required. One, to address the pandemic itself, the health response, and secondly, to provide support to persons who have been affected.
Dominica now has a total of 6 COVID-19 cases. As of September 24, 2020, the total number of confirmed cases is 30, of which 24 have fully recovered. 5 of the 6 active cases are asymptomatic, and the other displays with mild symptoms. The age range for the active cases is from 2 years to 59 years, with the median age 32 years.
The male to female ratio is 1. The majority of these cases are imported. A total of 87 contacts have been identified from the community. Only 3 of the contacts are COVID positive, and 96 of them are negative. At this time, the reproductive rate of COVID-19 in Dominica is 0. That means there is 0 community spread. Consequently, we plan to engage in community-based screening again in order to assess the COVID status at the community level.
The positivity rate in Dominica is 0.96%. This means for every 100 people tested, less than 1 is positive.
A positivity rate of less than 1 is the ideal position to be in. It is among the lowest in the world. As regards to pre-arrival screening, most of the technical issues have been rectified now. Submission of the questionnaire is much more user-friendly. Reply notifications are being sent and received on time, and the glitches in the system have been rectified.
The Ministry of Health has rectified most of the technical issues in regards to pre-arrival screenings, and the online questionnaire is now made user-friendly.
Pertaining to PCR testing, we have increased our lab capacity from 25 tests per day to nearly 100 per day. We are in the process also setting up new PCR equipment.
The ministry advises citizens to continue adhering to the ministry's protocol with an aim of a collective contribution in keeping Dominica safe from this pandemic. You're watching National Focus. More when we return. Welcome back. Minister for Tourism, International Transport and Maritime Initiatives, Honorable Dennis Charles, says the service of Caribbean Airlines to Dominica has made access to Dominica much easier. Caribbean Airlines made its inaugural flight into Dominica on Sunday, September 20.
It's something since I became minister we have been pursuing. In particular, first we are aggressively pursuing to get direct flights from mainland USA, but because of the COVID-19 pandemic, that has slowed down the process, but we have gotten them to come to begin service. So it's just opened up certainly new gateways for Dominica to access Latin America islands, countries, to access direct flights to Jamaica. So now you can stay in Dominica, book a flight on Caribbean Airlines, and reach to Miami, New York, and all the great destinations that they have connections to. So it has really brought ease to traveling for our people, and it also makes it easier for visitors to come to our island. And so I'm really pleased about that.
Meanwhile, Minister Charles says the COVID-19 pandemic has posed a challenge for the tourism industry in Dominica. She says the ministry has looked at other ways to stimulate the economy, specifically the tourism sector, through the staycation packages offered by properties to locals.
We launched the staycation. That has been going okay. We certainly expect it to continue to grow as we did the CARICOM bubble, inviting our Caribbean sister islands who have really done well in managing the pandemic as well as we did to visit our shores. What we are focused now is to repackage our product. So we are working with a few airlines to offer one package that includes air service, accommodation, and tours in Dominica. So any family can buy this package and come and have a relaxing time in Dominica, enjoy our great food, and explore our beautiful island.
Minister Charles says discussions are currently ongoing for the upcoming cruise season.
We are certainly having discussions with the cruise people. I've had several meetings with some cruise lines, and we are hoping, if all goes well, that probably in December we'll see the return of cruise activity and going into the new year in 2021. Once we can finalize our protocols and ensure that we can implement them on the island, and because the safety and health of our citizens are our top priority, so we are tweaking and working on the protocols. We should expect to see a return of cruise tourism by the last quarter of 2020 or the first quarter of 2021.
The government's efforts to build back better post-Hurricane Maria is evident with rehabilitation of the tourism industry. Minister for Trade, Commerce, Entrepreneurship, Innovation, Business and Export Development, Honorable Ian Douglas, says the rehabilitation of tourism infrastructure was one of the major investments in the tourism industry.
One of our major achievements, to my mind, is the completion of the tourism infrastructure that we had invested in before Hurricane Maria. What am I talking about? We had the Kapinski under construction. The hurricane came and wiped out all of the roofs that had already been on those buildings for the Kapinski Hotel. So they learned a lot from that. So they went back to the drawing board, and then instead of using wooden rafters and stuff, they decided to do concrete roofs. We go again to Jungle Bay. Jungle Bay was absolutely decimated by a natural disaster, albeit not Maria, but tropical storm Erica. But the government came in, stepped in, worked with the proprietor and the creative minds of the Jungle Bay.
Minister Douglas says that Dominica's natural sites have been rehabilitated and works on improving some sites are on the way. He states that since the COVID-19 pandemic, Dominica have seen the emergence of the local tourists, and they too are benefiting from the improvements to these sites.
Our natural sites, have been absolutely rehabilitated, because some of our natural sites are placed in quote-unquote the jungles of Dominica. So you have the Emerald Pool, you have the waterfalls, Trafalgar Falls, and you have the hot springs. If you look at what this guy Screws has done, he has absolutely recreated the hot springs, the sulfur spas at Screws, and it's absolutely breathtaking. Everybody who's gone up there, one thing that the recent disaster and challenge of COVID has done is it has spurred a sort of local tourism, where local Dominicans who would not have hitherto been excited about going and discover Dominica have really been going out.
The government of Dominica is committed to ensuring Dominica remains a safe place. Acting Chief of Police Lincoln Corbett says the Dominica Police Force is currently in the process of recruiting the largest group of individuals for training to become police officers. The police force currently stands at just below 500 officers with 60 special constables.
Recruitment is an ongoing process in that we never turn back anybody who applies to join the police force. But right now we are actively recruiting. In that, we're about to start a new cohort. It will be the biggest group of training in Dominica. That is, we intend to train a group of 50 men and women, albeit it may be less women because of the facilities that we have. But we intend to do so, hopefully commencing sometime in October. We intend to do that training. That will last for 6 months. Again, that's the initial training of 6 months. And hopefully shortly thereafter, we could do another batch or another cohort of 50 men and women.
And now your weather update. Cloudiness with scattered showers and possible isolated thunderstorms are expected across parts of the island chain during the next 24 hours. Light winds and increased moisture could result in an increase in showers with possible thunderstorm activity across parts of the island. People in areas prone to flooding are advised to be vigilant. By Sunday into Monday, a tropical wave is expected to generate an increase in shower and thunderstorm activity across the area. Moderate seas are expected during the next 24 hours with a slight reduction in wave heights to peak near 7 feet projected. Small craft operators and sea bathers are advised to continue to exercise caution. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, as well as on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I am Shakira Pear. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.